Welcome back. 5 political parties, 1 court battle, and a decision that could reshape Nigeria's political landscape ahead of the 2027 general elections. Today, the Court of Appeal in Abuja is set to hear a high-profile case challenging the deregistration of the African Democratic Congress, ACOT party, and 3 other political parties. While the dispute may appear technical at first glance, its outcome could determine which political parties remain eligible to participate in one of Nigeria's most closely watched elections. The bigger question is this: who has the final authority to decide whether a political party should remain registered in Nigeria? Is it solely the INEC, the courts, or both? As the legal battle unfolds, the case is expected to test the interpretation of constitutional provisions governing political parties and could have significant implications for Nigeria's democratic process. The appeal comes after Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court ordered the deregistration of 5 political parties. The affected parties are the African Democratic Congress, ACOT Party, Action Alliance, Zenith Labour Party, and Action People's Party. In his judgment, the court held that the parties failed to satisfy constitutional requirements after the previous general elections and therefore should no longer remain registered political parties. According to the judgment, the parties failed to meet the threshold outlined in Section 225 of the 1999 Constitution. The court ruled that they did not secure the required level of electoral performance and consequently directed the Independent National Electoral Commission, commonly known as INEC, to deregister them. Justice Lifu also barred INEC from recognizing the affected parties, accepting candidates nominated by them, or allowing them to participate in preparations for the 2027 general elections. The judgment generated immediate controversy because INEC itself reportedly opposed the request for deregistration during the proceedings. According to reports before the courts, the Electoral Commission argued that the parties had satisfied the constitutional requirements and even presented evidence in support of its position. Despite that submission, the Federal High Court ruled in favor of the suits brought by the National Forum of Former Legislators and ordered the parties to be removed from the register of recognized political parties. The affected parties quickly appealed the judgments, arguing that the ruling should not take effect while the legal dispute continues. During early proceedings before the Court of Appeal, counsel representing ACOT Party, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Musambwao Adetumbi, informed the appellate court that the record of appeal and the judgment of the lower courts had been transmitted, allowing the appeal process to move forward. He requested a short adjournment to enable all parties file and exchange their legal briefs before the substantive hearing. The Court of Appeal granted that request after none of the parties objected. Although counsel asked for only a few days, the appellate panel fixed today's date for the hearing because some members of the court would be unavailable the following week. That decision means the appeal now enters a critical stage as lawyers prepare to argue whether the Federal High Court acted correctly in ordering the deregistration of the 5 political parties. An important aspect of the case extends beyond the question of deregistration itself. The Court of Appeal had previously criticized the conduct of the trial proceedings after learning that the Federal High Court delivered its judgments despite an earlier appellate order directing the lower court to stay proceedings pending the determination of an interlocutory appeal. In an unanimous ruling, the 3-member panel emphasized that lower courts are expected to comply with orders issued by superior courts. Justice Abubakar Mohammed, who headed the appellate panel, described the situation in an unusually strong language. According to the ruling, the actions of the trial court amounted to what he characterized as judicial impunity and judicial rascality. The appellate court stressed that respect for judicial hierarchy remains essential to maintaining confidence in Nigeria's legal system and preserving the rule of law. As a result, the Court of Appeal ordered that enforcement of the Federal High Court judgment be suspended pending the determination of the appeal. That temporary order meant the affected political parties continue to exist legally while awaiting today's hearing. It also prevented immediate implementation of the deregistration order before the appellate courts had an opportunity to fully examine the legal issues involved. The case has attracted considerable political attention because of its possible impact on the 2027 elections. Political parties serve as the foundation of democratic competition, providing platform through which candidates seek public office. Any decision affecting their legal status inevitably influences the broader electoral environment. If the appeal succeeds, the 5 parties will retain their registrations and remain eligible to participate in the electoral process. If the appeal fails, they could lose that opportunity unless further legal remedies are pursued. Legal analysts note that the dispute also raises broader constitutional questions about the interpretation of provisions governing political parties in Nigeria. Courts are often required to balance constitutional requirements designed to ensure electoral credibility with democratic principles that encourage political participation and competition. How the appellate court interprets these provisions could provide important guidance for future cases involving political party registration and regulation. Supporters of the deregistration argue that constitutional requirements exist for a reason and that parties unable to meet electoral threshold should not remain on the register indefinitely. They contend that enforcing constitutional standards strengthens Nigeria's electoral system by encouraging political parties to build genuine public support. On the other hand, the affected parties maintain that the judgments should be carefully scrutinized through the appellate process before any final action is taken. They also rely on the principle that legal disputes should be resolved through due process, particularly when decisions may affect democratic participation and the choices available to voters during national elections. Whatever the Court of Appeal decides, today's proceedings are likely to become an important milestone in Nigeria's electoral jurisprudence. Beyond the immediate fate of 5 political parties, the judgment could shape future interpretations of constitutional provisions governing political parties and clarify the relationship between the courts and the INEC in matters involving party registration. As Nigeria moves steadily towards the 2027 general elections, legal battles such as this demonstrate that elections are shaped not only by campaign rallies and political alliances, but also by constitutional interpretation and judicial decisions. The outcome of today's hearing will therefore be watched closely by political parties, election officials, legal practitioners, and millions of Nigerians interested in the future of the country's democratic process. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this report informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more news reports. I'm Chidera Eso. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next reports.